القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأنجبين بهم نتولى ومن أعدائهم نتبرأ إلى الله. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Once again, it's another session about the Tafseer or the commentary of Ziyarat Jame'at Kabeera, to address any one of the Imams at any time, whether from near or from far, in the sacred shrines or away from the sacred shrines. Whenever you want, you can best address the Imams alayhimus salam by this beautiful ziyarah. Says, وَأُصُولَ الْكَرَمْ وَقَادَةَ الْأُمَمْ وَأَوْلِيَاءَ النَّعَمْ وَعَنَاصِرَ الْأَبْرَارِ ودعائم الأخيار وساسة العباد وأركان البلاد وأبواب الإيمان. We talked about all of these phrases, that is, you the Imams are the foundation of benevolence, the leaders of all nations, the custodian of all bounties and the source of all virtues. And you the Imams are the pillars of the good and the directors of mankind and the supporters of all lands. And today it is you the Imams are Abwab al-Iman, the doors of belief, wa umana ar-Rahman, and the trustees of the merciful Lord. Now these two sentences we'll try and understand. Abwab al-Iman wa umana ar-Rahman, doors of belief and trustees of the merciful. Once again, beautiful sentences they are. Abwab al-Iman. Abwab, it's the plural of bab, meaning door. So the truth of faith is that the servant, he should surrender all the blessings that Allah has given to him to the benefactor, to the provider, to the creator, to the Almighty God. So everything is his. All he has bestowed everything to me. And that dua that we recite after the ta'aqibat, we say, La amliku li nafsi naf'an, wala dharran, wala mautan, wala hayatan, wala nushura. That is, I do not possess, I do not have for myself anything. La amliku li nafsi naf'an, no gain, no loss, no dunya, no akhirah, no death, no life, no resurrection. I don't have anything of mine. Everything is yours, O Lord. Everything you have given. So when I say Abwab al-Iman, the doors of belief, means everything belongs to Him. Whatever He has bestowed upon me, I surrender to the Almighty Allah. And if He once says that this life needs to be sacrificed for a noble cause of deen, I have to give it away. If He wants, He can seize it away. If He wants, He can give me. If He wants, He can take away whatever I have. If He wants, He can test, like He tested Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, that you have to sacrifice your son. And at times He separates husbands from wives, like what He did for Prophet Ayyub alayhi salam. So that was a test. So totally, wholly, solely we have to surrender, and that is that faith, that Iman. So Islam means to submit. So here the submission is a whole soul submission in every aspect, that we have to submit to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. In all dealings we have to be like a slave. Hadith says that you have to be like a dead body on the bath table. When a person passes away, he is put on that table to be washed. Now that dead body, he cannot do anything. It is that ghassal, or that person who is washing that body. He rolls him over, he raises his hands, his feet, he washes him from all sides, and the body is just laying there doing nothing. So here we are told that in this grand creation of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, before the Almighty we have to be like that dead body. That is, everything He wants He can do. However He wants He can treat. However He wants He can provide. However He wants He can take away, He can give away, He can add on, He can delete, whatever He wants. An ayah in Quran, Surah An-Nisa, ayah number 65, there the Almighty He says, فَلَا وَرَبُّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُوكَ فِي مَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَجِدُوا فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَرَجًا مِمَّا قَضَيْتَ وَيُسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. But know, by your Lord, they will not believe until they make you a judge in their disputes. Then do not find within their hearts any dissent to your verdict, and submit in full submission. That total submission has to be there to Allah, to Rasulullah. Now when it comes to some tasks and affairs, in fact, we have to work on this and bring ourselves to a point that whatever is happening is by the command and the intent of the Almighty Allah. Sometimes people, they are blessed with a lot of blessings. Others, they think that Allah is showing His grace towards him. Some are in distress, some are having problems. May that be family-wise, spouse-wise, children-wise, funds-wise, job-wise. So there will be many suffering. Some would say that maybe Allah is showing His rage and wrath on that person who is suffering in all these different ways in his life. That is not the case. The case is something else. Allah, He judges, He deals with others in a very beautiful way. That hadith also have mentioned quite a few times. There says that Antum kal marda wa Rabbul Alameen kat tabib, that all of you are like that ill, like the patients, like those who are sick, and the Lord of the universe, that is Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He is that physician, He is that doctor. He sees all these patients. To some He gives, to some He says that they have to be nil by mouth, they shouldn't be eating anything. To some He says that you can eat whatever you want. To some says that it should be a sugar-free diet. To some says no salt allowed. To some He wants to operate. To some He says go home, nothing to be done. And no one objects in all these variety and different and multitude of prescriptions given by that same one doctor, because they know that He wants the welfare, the well-being of these people, and they are all content and happy. Rasulullah says that all of you are like that, those patients, and Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He is kat-tabib. That is, He is the one who is the physician, who is the doctor, and He has to deal with you in all these different ways. So that Iman has to be of that level, that a person has to submit to the Almighty Allah in every affair. Now, Quran has an ayah that says that وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَن يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ. A faithful man or a woman may not have any option in their matter. مَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا. When Allah has decreed something, or the Prophet He has decided on a matter, there I cannot have a say. Like for example in Karbala, when Imam Hussein was arriving, and Thirimah and others who were also there, Imam says to join. They said that let me go and put this grocery to my home and I'll come back and join. That much of a delay is also not permitted. He goes there, drops that grocery to his house, and then when he comes, Karbala has ended, nothing remained. So that khiyara, meaning that when Allah and the Prophet, they have decided on a matter, I have nothing to say. أن يكون لهم الخيرة من أمرهم ومن يعص الله ورسوله فقد ضل ضلالا بعيدا. And whoever disobeys Allah and His Apostle has certainly strayed into a great error, a manifest error. Now, to understand this ayah, I'll quote a hadith. Now, this hadith says, during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Zayd ibn Haritha is one of those sincere companions of Rasulullah. So after his divorce, Rasulullah proposed to Zainab. Zainab was the daughter of Jahsh al-Asadi, and who is the first cousin of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his uncle's daughter. Rasulullah says to Zainab that I want you to marry Zayd ibn Harith. She said, let me think, Ya Rasulullah, and then I'll let you know. This ayah was revealed, saying that ما كان وما كان لمؤمن ولا مؤمنة, that is, a choice is not there for a mu'min or a mu'mina, a faithful man or a woman. When the Prophet has decided, when the Almighty has decreed, there you don't say that let me think and then I will let you know whether I want to marry Zayd ibn Harith or not. The moment she said, let me think, Ya Rasulullah, and I'll decide and let you know, this ayah is revealed. That is, mu'mineen, they have no choice when Rasulullah has decreed and said something. Now this is something we all have to work on, and especially in this era of probation, that if tomorrow Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam, he returns and he says something to you and something to me, there I don't have a choice. I don't say that, yes, Ya Imam, let me think what will happen to my family, what will happen to my wife, to my children, and whether if he says do it, you have to do it. So there I have no choice. And if someone goes after a choice and then says let me think and does anything else, he has stood against the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. Or for example, when we look into this, the whole thing is that abwab al-iman. So Imams, they are the doors of faith, doors of iman. So iman stems from this obedience to Allah, stems from obedience to the Imams alayhim salam. So here Zainab, she said, let me think. Ayah is revealed that you don't think when the Prophet has decreed something. So if a Prophet, he comes, or tomorrow if Imam comes and he slices an apple into two and he says that this right side of the apple is halal for you to eat, the left one is not. There you don't say that how come left is not, it's that one apple, and how if he says that is halal, this is not halal, I have no right to question over there. It is the divine decree, the divine command of the Imam, so he has to do it. Now many of these issues that we have when it comes to obedience to the Imam alayhi salam, you must have heard this hadith during the time of our sixth Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. He was having a chat with someone, and this person, a very wealthy person, a very obedient companion of Imam, he comes and says that, Yabna Rasulullah, why don't you rise, why don't you stand? There are so many people who are in your following. Imam says to him, how many? He says, so many, half of the world, maybe so many thousand people are there. And then he comes to this point that half of the world is in your obedience and in your following. Imam says, calls his khadim, servant. He comes, says to him, now turn the oven on. He puts some firewood and turns on the oven. And then as they are talking, Imam says to this companion, come on, go and get into the oven. He says that, Yabna Rasulullah, allow me and not to abide by this command of yours. And Imam says, okay. Another Sahabi walks in. Imam says to him, get into the oven. He says, do you want me to get in there with my footwear on or without my footwear? Imam says, as you wish. And then he says, he jumps into the oven, and this person who was giving all these big ideas to the Imam, he is worried what is happening to that other companion who jumped into the oven upon the command of the Imam. They completed their talk, and then Imam calls that Sahabi, that companion who was in the oven, to come out. He comes out. And then Imam asks him, how was it in there? He says, a garden of bliss. Never was it like that. I haven't felt such more comfortable anywhere else. Imam says to this first Sahabi who was giving all those big ideas, that how many do I have like this one who at my command jumped into the oven? He replied, none, not even one. So that is that obedience. As a result of obedience, you find all that beauty, that fire which has been created and meant to burn doesn't burn. Or that what happened with Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, that the fire that was set ablaze, and decades for that fire, for the forests to be cut into timber, and then fire to be put into a pit, and then put into the pit, and that fire to be set ablaze to burn Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. It doesn't burn. Why? Because there is an obedience attached to it. That obedience makes everything fine for everyone. So that is what we are instructed and commanded to here when we say to the Imams, wa abwab al-iman, that you, the Imams, are the doors of all faith. So obedience to Allah starts from Allah, that is obedient to Him and having faith in Him, and then obedient to Rasulullah, that Allah has sent him for us to follow him, and then the Imams alayhim salam also, because the Prophet has such instructed that you have to be obedient to the Imams after him. So that is that channel, Ati'ullah wa Ati'ur Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, he was on a journey when he came and he saw a caravan, meets a caravan, he greets them. They also say, yes, alaykum assalam ya Rasulullah. Rasulullah says, who are you? They said that we are the believers. فَنَحْنُ مُؤْمِنُونَ. Ya Rasulullah, we are the believers. Rasulullah says, فَمَا حَقِيقَةُ إِيمَانِكُمْ. That is, what is this iman that you say? What is that haqiqat and the reality of your iman? قالوا, they said, الرضا بقضاء الله. We are content with the destiny of Allah. والتفويض إلى الله, and we have surrendered to Allah. والتسليم لأمر الله, and to the commands of Allah we have submitted. فقال Rasulullah said that you are wise and you've got the knowledge and the wisdom of the prophets. And then he says that this hikmat and wisdom of the prophets that you have, abide by it. And then he says that you stick to it, be with it. And so that then he gives them some tips, that if you are truthful in what you claim and you just said to me, do not build what you are not going to live in. That is a house. For example, building a huge big house and then never having, without the intention, or I'm not going to stay in there. Or do not hoard something that you are not going to eat or consume. And what you do not eat, you don't hoard. And then be mindful of your duties. So Rasulullah says, if that is the faith that you have, then add these three things onto your faith. Now, there is a hadith, quite a lengthy one. It says that when we are talking about Iman, Imams are the Abwabul Iman. They are the doors of Iman. Now, this hadith says that each organ has a specific faith for itself. So I've got a human body, and this body has various organs and limbs, And every limb and every organ has an iman, a faith to abide by. Now here Rasulullah, he starts and says that قلت له أيها العالم أخبرني أي الأعمال أفضل. He says, now the reporter, the hadith is from Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam, that from the actions that we do, أي الأعمال أفضل عند الله قال. Now when we look into the hadith al-Mi'raj, Rasulullah, when he ascends to the skies, to the heavens, on one of his sky trips, Mi'raj trips, there is a detailed conversation between Allah and Rasulullah. There Allah, he educates his Prophet. And at times it is Rasulullah, he asks questions and Allah, he responds to them and he explains. The first question that the Prophet he asks is that Ayyul a'mali afdal. O Lord, from the actions, which action is the best of actions? Here Allah says, لَيْسَ شَيْءٌ عِنْدِي أَفْضَلُ مِنَ التَّوَكُّلِ عَلَيَّ وَالرِّضَى بِمَا قَسَمْتُ. There is nothing better than relying upon me and being content with the destiny. So relying upon Allah, as it was mentioned, that at times situations, they are tough, they are dread, they cannot be handled. At times it is a comfortable and an easy ride. In both cases, whether it's joy or whether it is sorrow, we have to be content. لَيْسَ شَيْءٌ أَفْضَلُ مِنَ التَّوَكُّلِ عَلَيَّ. There is nothing, the Almighty says, better than relying upon me and being happy with what I have decreed and distributed for everyone. لَيْسَ شَيْءٌ عِنْدِي أَفْضَلُ مِنَ التَّوَكُّلِ عَلَيَّ وَالرِّضَى بِمَا قَسَمْتُ, and then being content with the destiny. And then he continues with this explanation, says أَفْضَلُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ, it's to rely upon Him, and an action that Allah will not accept but with, says that you have to embrace and you have to submit to the Almighty with that faith. And now what is that faith? Says al-imanu billah, that is having faith in Allah. Which Allah? La ilaha illa huwa, that is no God but Him. A'la al-a'mal darajatan, that is the best and the highest of the actions that you have. Now here, this in reality, it is not an action. I'm admitting, I'm surrendering, or I am believing, saying La ilaha illallah. So there is no action that is like prayers, like fast, like Hajj, that there is something happening in it. In embracing and submitting to the Almighty, there is no action. But here Allah says that this embracing of mine is such great that He takes it as an action that has been performed by an individual when he says La ilaha illallah huwa a'la al-a'mal, says that is the highest and the best of actions, most rewarding action is La ilaha illallah. Now for La ilaha illallah, there says that someone who says La ilaha illallah, he is a Muslim, he has entered into Islam. And someone whose last statement in this world, that was La ilaha illallah, wajabat alayhi al-jannah, or dakhala al-jannah, or Jannah becomes mandatory upon him and he enters the heaven. Now one of the great ulama that we have who passed away after the Islamic Revolution, we were in Iran at that time, it was 1984-85 he passed away, is Marhum Ayatollah Khansari, a very noble personality. Now this noble person, he lived for about 98 years, and in these 98 years he performed his own prayers 3 times during his lifetime. Not that he started offering prayers from the age of 5. So 98 years, so he offered prayers, 93 years of prayers 3 times. That is, he offered his prayers, although it's not wajib, himself was a marja taqleed. And then he offered another set of prayers. If God doesn't accept the first set, says, I've offered a second set of prayers as well. And then he has a third set of prayers, and then he says to the Almighty, if even this third one wasn't accepted from me, I did not have the ability to offer anything else, so at least take one of these prayers. Now this noble person, a week before his demise, he was ill on the deathbed. So people, they were coming to see him, his well-wishers. So the son, the wife, the family, they used to open the door, they used to come and see him and go. Now they are saying that we heard him talk to someone. The son says, I asked the mother, did you open the door? She said no, no one came, no one rang, and no one knocked the door. Then he says, then who opened the door? He says, we don't know. Let them, whoever it is, we'll go and ask father after he has met him, after the meeting. After the meeting, they go and say, who was it and who opened the door? He replied, the person who came, he doesn't need to knock at the door and no one needs to show him in. He says, who was he? He says, that was the angel of death, Malakul Maut. And he says, he came here to see me because I was ill all these days. So he came to see me, and when he came, I asked him, have you come to take me? He says, not now. I've come to visit you, but a week from now, I'll come to take you. 7 days more for your demise. So these great people, angels, they frequent. We have ayat in Quran that says that تَنَزَّلُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, angels, they descend upon them. Angels, they come to help them. They greet them. So they are there all the time. Now, a week from that day that Malakul Maut came to meet him, he had vowed to say La ilaha illallah 12,000 times. That is, departing from this dunya, he has said this La ilaha illallah and he was occupied in that zikr. And the last La ilaha illallah he said was the 12,000, and then after that he departed from this world. So that is that height of Iman, Abwab al-Iman. Imams are the doors to faith, and La ilaha illallah, Allah says, is that best of actions that a person can ever perform and arrive at. And Rasulullah also, when he had that amnesty for these kuffar and mushrikeen when they were returning from Medina in Fath Makkah, he says, Qulu la ilaha illallah tuflihu. Say La ilaha illallah and you will be prosperous, you will be successful. So, limbs and all organs that we have in our human body, all of them, they have to be faithful. So all of them, they have to have Iman. My tongue, it has to have Iman. And then this Iman, according to this hadith that I'm reciting now, Iman is distributed to my entire wujud, to my entire existence, to all my limbs and all my parts of my body. So every part of my body has to submit. So when you see that in a sin or in an action that we are not allowed to do or to buy, for example, things that are not lawful for us to buy, if my hand is not going towards that thing to buy or to pick it to see it, means that the hand is faithful. If my eyes are not doing certain actions that are forbidden for the eyes, means that eye is also faithful. A tongue, if you see that the tongue is mindful, is watchful, and is not saying anything or is not uttering everything, means the tongue is also faithful. So we have to see how much this body of mine or these organs of mine, they have submitted to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Now that what is the chief of staff or the center point of this entire existence of man is the heart. So that heart of mine, now the heart doesn't mean that this heart that is pumping in me. In Quran we've got these different words that have been used. Sometimes it says qalb, sometimes it says sudur, sometimes it says nafs. So nafs or soul or breast or chest or heart or existence, all are these different words that have been used, and all of them they return to the existence or the core of the existence of man. Or for example, that ayah in Quran says Narullah al-muqada allati tattali'u ala al-af'ida. Narullah, the fire of Allah. Al-muqada, that has been kindled, that has been set ablaze. Allati tattali'u ala al-af'ida. Tattali'u, that fire, it will get into the heart. That will reach the heart. Why the heart? Why not the hand? Why not the eyes? Says because that heart was the center point and the headquarters of embracing, accepting and denying that iman. That is why that heart is going to be punished. So here, if the limb, which is the hand, has done some wrong, it will be punished. At the same time, the heart also will be punished. And also, reward also is the same. That is, rewarding also will be for the heart, for embracing and submitting to the... It's quite a lengthy hadith and it's a beautiful one. Here explains all the different organs that they have to submit to the Almighty, and then also at the same time they have to believe in the Almighty Allah. So if the limbs and organs of my body, they are obedient, they are within the parameters that have been laid by Deen, means this hand of mine is mu'min, that tongue of mine is mu'min, that eye of mine is mu'min, and to whatever extent that faithlessness or disobedience is seen in those limbs, means that much of a disobedience and kufr is seen in that organ of mine. Then Imam, this person who asked this question to the Imam says, قُلْتُ صِفْهُ لِي جُعِلْتُ فِدَاكَ حَتَّى أَفْهَمْهُ. May I be able to, says that, can you explain to me so that I understand what it means? قال الإيمان حالات ودرجات وطبقات. That is, Iman has stages, has degrees, has classes, has stages, has various levels. فَمِنْهُ التَّامُ, there is an Iman which is perfect, which is complete. تَمَامُهُ وَمِنْهُ النَّاقِص, and then at the same time we have an Iman which is naqis, which is incomplete. الْبَيِّن نُقْصَانُهُ وَمِنْهُ الرَّاجِحْ الزَّائِدْ رُجْحَانُ. And likewise there's an Iman which is an elevated and a high Iman that people have. قُلْتُ إِنَّ الْإِيمَانَ لَيَتِمُّ وَيَنْقُصْ وَيَزِيدُ. I asked, so faith is complete, and then faith that is incomplete, faith that is elevated, faith that is not. قال نعم. Imam says yes. قلت كيف ذلك؟ قال لأن الله تبارك وتعالى فرض الإيمان على جوارح ابن آدم. Then he says that Allah, He has obligated this Iman on different organs of Bani Adam, of the organs of the humans, that is the sons of Adam. وَقَسَّمَهُ عَلَيْهَا فَفَرَّقَهُ فِيهَا. And Allah has distributed this Iman on all these different organs of mine. And then there are some that are obedient to Allah. You see that there are many people, they say that, from the furu ad-deen, certain things we'll do, certain things we don't do, or certain things that are not being observed. There will be people, they will be saying their prayers, but when it comes to consumption of haram, that also will be there in their life. There will be, they say that we are practicing Muslims, but then certain things that are part of deen are lacking in their iman, in their practice. So they are mu'min, but then certain organs of their body, they are not faithful, they are not they haven't embraced or they haven't accepted that Iman. So if this face Allah has given to me, that face also has to have an Iman. Now just like men, they have to wear a beard, likewise women, they have to wear a hijab. If someone doesn't mean that he is faithless, he is still faithful, but those organs of his, they haven't submitted wholly and solely to the Almighty Allah. So that much. Now when we look into the ayat of Quran also, there is an ayah, it says, on the day of judgment, when Allah will give speech to every part of the body, some organs of my body will bear a witness against me, a testimony against me. Then I would say to my own body parts that lima shahidtum alayna, why did you bear a witness or testimony against me? Why did you go against me? That organ of mine would say that antaqana Allah, Allah has given speech to us. That is, that individual organ on the day of judgment, antaqana Allah alladhi antaqa kulla shay. That is, that God who gave speech to everything has given speech to me. For example, this hand is going against me on the day of judgment. Says, why are you going against me? Were you not part of me? I was part of you. But here Allah has given me that ability to speak, and I'm going to speak up now for what the wrong that was done. So the organs also, they have to be faithful. Every part of my body has to be faithful to the Almighty Allah to have that complete and that highest level, that elevated level of Iman that we need to have. Abwab al-Iman means you, the Imams, are the doors of all faiths. Now, when you look into the ahadith this way, and then when you say, see that famous hadith, Ana Madinatul Ilm wa Aliyun Babuha, Rasulullah says that I am the city of knowledge, and Ali is its gates, or the doors that open, that lead you into the city of knowledge is Ali. The one who submitted the most to Allah is Rasulullah. The one who submitted the most to Rasulullah is Amirul Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam. So you take Iman from someone who is most obedient to Allah, most obedient to Rasulullah. Now when you say La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah ilahan wahidan, that is, there is no God but Allah, and that He has no partner, no sharik. And then ilahan wahidan, He is the only God, the one God, it is Allah. Now Rasulullah, he submitted to Allah like that, wholly, solely he embraced, and then every organ of him. Now we were in du'as, like just a few days ago we had the amal for the 15th of Sha'ban. There was this amal when you go bow down in sajda, and there you say sajada lakya, that is this entire existence of mine has bowed down in sajda. Once you see that it's only my forehead that had bowed down before Allah, but then a sajda should be such that my entire existence, it bows down before Him. A person, he may be, for example, disabled, he may not be able to perform a sajda properly. He may have to sit and do that sajda, or he bows down to whatever, how much ever he can bow down before the Almighty. So that bowing down in humbleness, that his existence is bowing down. Or maybe a person is on the bed and he cannot bow down in sajda, but then in reality, in his thoughts or in haqiqat, he is bowing down before Allah, and that is what Allah wants, that humility, that humbleness in a person, that he has submitted to Him, before Him, in the most humble way. Now, how do you know Allah? When you say that Imams, they are the doors of Iman, Abwab al-Iman. So how do you know that? That is that faith that they have. So what is that faith? The first level was that you know the Almighty Allah. And then when you see the riwayat that you have, one of them is from Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam. He says, "I'rafullah billah." You know Allah. How do you know Him? By Himself, by Allah Himself. You know the Prophet bir risala. How do you know the Prophet? By the message that he has brought forth, by him being the messenger. وَأُولِي الْأَمْرِ بِالْأَمْرِ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Ulil Amr are the Imams. How do you know them? You know the Imams by the Amr bil Ma'ruf, that is how they are enjoining you to obedience, and then by their justice, by their adl, by their ihsan, by the good they do. So you know Allah by Allah Himself. You know the Prophet by the message he has brought forth. And you know the Imams by that Amr bil Ma'ruf, and which they are performing, by the justice that they are implementing and they are on, and by the good that they do. Now, اعرف الله بالله يعني أن الله فلم يعرف الله بالله. Now, there are other ayat in Quran. One of them, it is this Ayatul Kursi that you recite. In Ayatul Kursi, you say, Allahu waliyul ladhina amanu. If Allah is the wali, and Allah is the custodian of the faithful. Allahu waliyul ladhina amanu. So if you have faith in Allah, what happens? It says, يُخْرِجُهُمْ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ. Because of that submission of yours, because of that iman that you have in Allah, Allah will bring you out from darkness into light. يُخْرِجُهُمْ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. On the contrary, those who are faithless in the Almighty Allah, what Allah does is that كَفَرُوا أَوْلِيَاؤُهُمُ الطَّاغُوتِ. And those people who are faithless, why are they faithless? Because their guardians, their custodians are the Taghut. That is, Taghut is all those arrogant forces and powers who have stood against the Almighty God. Why have they stood against the Almighty? Because of disobedience to Him. They don't believe in Him. That is why they are disobedient. That is why Allah recognizes them as Taghut. Now, someone who is faithful, Allah brings him out from darkness into light. Those who are faithless, it says, يُخْرِجُونَهُمْ مِنَ النُّورِ إِلَى الظُّلُمَاتِ. Allah brings them out or ousts them from light and then pushes them into darkness. إِلَى الظُّلُمَاتِ. أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ. And these people, they are the companions or the inmates of fire. Now, all these beautiful ayat we have. Now, when we look into Quran again, there's another ayah, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا. Says that we raised an apostle in every nation because it's the message of God. He has to guide people. And that guidance was provided to everyone. Quran says that we raised an apostle in every nation to preach. To preach what? It says, Ana'budullah, that you worship Allah. Wajtanibut taghut, and you shun all these fake deities, or you shun all these fake taghut, or these arrogant rulers, or arrogant forces and powers. You have to shun them, you have to oust them. That is that iman that a person has to have. You have to have faith in Allah, and then you have to have faith in not accepting the oppositions or the Iblis. So when you install Allah in your heart, then that Iblis has to be out of that system. Now, Quran says, وَكَيْفَ تَكْفُرُونَ وَأَنْتُمْ تُتْلَى عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتُ اللَّهِ وَفِيكُمْ رَسُولُهُ. And how would you be faithless whilst the signs of Allah are recited to you, and His apostle is within you? وَفِيكُمْ رَسُولٌ وَمَنْ يَعْتَصِمْ بِاللَّهِ. And whosoever clings on or holds on to Allah, says, فَقَدْ هُدِيَ إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. That is, he is guided to the straight path, to the right path, to the path which is mustaqim, as a result of that faith and that iman that you have in Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Now, the sentence that we were working on was Abwab al-Iman are the Imams alayhimus salam, the doors of the doors of faith, belief, and then to Allah, in Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, are the Imams. The next sentence says that, in the same Ziyarat Jame'at Kabeera, there's a sentence that says, Man aradallah bada'a bikum. Whosoever intends Allah has to come to you, has to start from you. So if you want to know Allah, Imams will guide you to Allah. Imams will explain to you the existence of Allah. Imams will show you the path to Allah. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. Man aradallah bada'a bikum. Inshallah, we'll continue this topic. Now, one of the things that I wanted to mention here is that fast approaching, just in a few days, is the sacred month of Ramadan. And this session, inshallah, will continue after the month of Ramadan. And there will be some other sessions, inshallah, an announcement will be made and sent for that. We have to work that this month of Ramadan is listed as the best of those months that we have worshipped and have been obedient to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in. And also this year it's not that hot, and the days also are not that long, so the nights also will be reasonable. So we can offer a lot of more worship in these nights. Now, one of those things and amal that are recommended in this month of Ramadan is that to have a long and a lengthy sajda. So bow down in sajda, whichever point of once in the day, once at night. A long sajda meaning that in your prayers, when you bow down in worship, you say Subhanallah a few times, or Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdih a few times. A lengthy sajda means 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Bow down in sajda before Him. And one of the azkar that can be mentioned in that sajda is the zikr yunisiyya, la ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. And there are various prescriptions given by our ma'asumeen, by our ulama, urafa, who are the sincere servants of the Imam, to do it 700 times, 400 times, 1,000 times, etc. So counting that much and also being in the state of sajda would be a little bit difficult. So you can set a timer for 15-20 minutes, that these 15 minutes you will be in sajda, and just keep on repeating whatever zikr you are comfortable with. And the best would be this tasbihat arba'a, or the zikr yunisiyya, la ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. So try to add these two sajdas to your program in the month of Ramadan, one during the day and one at night. Now, one of the other things is that to prayers there is so much of emphasis, and the month of Ramadan, it's the month of prayers. Every day has a special prayer. There are prayers for the day. There are prayers meaning salat. There are prayers for the day, there are prayers for the night, there are du'as for the day, there are du'as for the night, there are du'as for post midnight, before midnight, there are du'as for before Fajr at the time of Sahar. So it's a special month which is embedded, which is drowned and filled with all kinds of observances and ways how you can approach the Almighty Allah. So it would be a good idea that before the month of Ramadan, what you do is that you have a glance in the books of dua and see what is on the table, and what is possible for me with my schedule and my work, and how much I can take on board, and then take it on board and do it sincerely and daily. Some things have to be done and on a daily basis, and a lot. So one of the other things that you have over there, it's a 2 rakat prayer. It's just 2 rakat after your Isha prayers. You offer that, so you recite one Suratul Hamd followed by 7 times Suratul Ikhlas in both the raka'at, and after the prayer there is a small 2-line dua. You recite that. So these things, just have a look at them before the month of Ramadan, and then add them to your daily program. One of the other mustahabbat, that if you have it on board, good. Increase in the quality of it. If you don't have it on board, once in a while, at least once in a lifetime, or once in the month of Ramadan, do it. Now, many of us do offer the night prayers, the 11 rak'at of the night prayers, namaz al-shab or salatul layl. Now, there is a longer way, a lengthier version of that salatul layl, and especially when you are reciting the Watr prayers. I'll send you the link. Just compiled it in a simple form. If you could do that, add it on. At least try and do it on one occasion or a few times in the sacred month. So how you do it is that when you have done those 10 rak'at of the shab and the shafa, and then when you want to do the 1 rak'at, that is the watr prayers, you do it in a... Here hadith says that someone who cries, it is mustahab for you to cry a little bit in that watr prayers. So you start by reciting Takbiratul Ihram 6 times. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Now the 7th one is going to be the Takbiratul Ihram. You would say Allahu Akbar and you will start your watr prayers. Now that you've started it, here you recite Suratul Hamd once, and then you recite Suratul Ikhlas 3 times, followed by Suratul Falaq and Suratul Nas. So these are the surahs that you will recite in the Watr prayers. Now generally people just do it with 1 Hamd and 1 surah. So do this one, the detailed one. At least do it a few times. And once you've done that, you will raise your hands in Qunut. Now for Qunut also, it's quite a lengthy dua. So you can have it on your device, or if you printed it out in that way, so you can hold it in your hand and you can recite that dua, La ilaha illallah al-halimul kareem, La ilaha illallah al-aliyul azim. It's quite a lengthy one. It's all these easy duas that you've heard quite a lot, and then you just look from that device or your printout and you follow these duas. So once you've recited this dua, there's another dua you repeat, Astajiru billahi minan nar, which means that Allah, I seek your protection, I want your protection to be away from the fire. From the fire. I want your protection from the fire. And then the adab now here says that your hands were in ruku. Now here you were holding something, doesn't matter because we don't know all these lengthy duas. So you're holding a device, your hand is there stretched. Here says that now you stretch your hands even further. So you stretch your hands further and you recite the following dua, وَجَّهْتُ وَجْهِيَ لِلَّذِي فَطَرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ حَنِيفًا مُسْلِمًا وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. That I have submitted to you sincerely, O Lord, Lord, the creator of the skies and the earth, Hanifan, Musliman, and I have submitted to you sincerely, وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, and I am not among those faithless, among those mushrikeen. And then you say, إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَالنُّسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي, my prayers, my actions, my life, my death, لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ, belong to the Lord of the universe. لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ, that is, he doesn't have a partner. وَبِذَلِكَ أُمِرْتُ, and to that I have been commanded. وَأَنَا مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, and I have submitted. Now we were talking about Abwab al-Iman in the Ziyarat Jame'at Kabeera. Now herein you are admitting, and in action you are proving to the Almighty that you are among those who are faithful and believing to Allah. And then you've got another dua after that. And once you've recited these du'as, you come to this point, and then you pray for 40 people. You can bring them to your mind, and if you don't know the names of them, you can have just them in your mind and just keep repeating, Allahumma ghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat wal muslimina wal muslimat 40 times, more than 40 times. Now sometimes people say that it has to be only 40. No, you can pray for anyone as much as you want, as many people as you like. You can bring them to your mind, pray for all of them, and repeat this, Allahumma ghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat wal muslimina wal muslimat, after you prayed for them. Now here hadith says that when you offer your prayers and you are remembering others, then be rest assured that whatever you want will definitely be granted and be given to you by the Almighty Allah. So whatever hajat you may be having or you want to have, and then they are stuck somewhere and you want them to be eased and be granted, try this prescription. Do it now in this month of Sha'ban, at least once a week or once in the month of Ramadan. Once in a while do it and have these lengthy sajdas, lengthy qunuts, because hadith says that on the day of judgment, those who will not be stopped or those who will pass easily are the ones who have longer qunuts and who have lengthier sajdas. These are those people who will be easily taken to their next level, to the heaven. So, and after you've prayed for these 40 mu'mineen or 40 plus mu'mineen, you say Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh 70 times. And once you've done that, then you say Astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum li jami' dhulmi, for all the wrong that I have done, wa jurmi, and all the crimes I have committed, wa israfi, and all the israf that I have inflicted on myself, wa atubu ilayh, and I sincerely return and repent to the Almighty Allah. And then you say Rabbi asa'tu wa zalamtu nafsi, God, I did bad. Wa bi'sa ma sana'tu, and that is the worst what I have done. Wa hadhihi yadaya, and these are my two hands. Now hand is still in qunut, and these are my two hands, Ya Rab. Jaza'an bima kasabat, these are the hands that have committed all these wrong. Wa hadhihi raqabati, and this is my neck, O Lord. Khadi'atun, that sincerely and humbly it has bowed down before you. Lima ataytu waha anadha bayna yadayk, and I have stood before you, O Lord. Fakhudh li nafsika min nafsi ar-ridha, that is, God, you be happy with me, you be content with me. Hatta tarda laka al-utba la a'ud, so that I also am happy with you and I don't return to all this filth and wrong that I have done. Now you've said this, now say 300 times al-af, 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 and then once you've done those 300 times, you bow down in ruku, and then you continue. There's another dua that is mentioned on that page 4 of the same document. Now once you've done the al-af and you've bowed down in ruku and you've stood from ruku, then you repeat that. So when you say Sami'allahu liman hamida, so after that you repeat that dua on page 4. It's a long one, and then you bow down in the sajda and perform the 2 sajdas of your watr prayers. It's nice, it's beautiful. Once in a while do it, and may Allah accept and reward. And everyone who has got to whatever rank it is by this night prayers, says alayka bis salatil layl, upon you be the night prayers, the night prayers, the night prayers. The night prayers, they were wajib on Rasulullah, not wajib on us, mustahab on us all, but they have been wajib on Rasulullah. And then says in nashi'at al-layl hiya ashaddu wat'an wa aqwamu qila, and another ayah says that it will bring you to maqaman mahmuda. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam was inquired, this ayah says that someone who offers the night prayers will be blessed with maqaman mahmuda, a praised rank. What does that mean? Imam Sadiq in reply says it is the maqam or the rank of shafa'at will be given to you when you to you who has been offering these night prayers. So the benefit of that you will see in your own life here in this world and the hereafter, and also you will be blessed and given with the rank of shafa'at, the right to intercede between for others and get them give help to them, render them help and support, and take them with you to the heaven. It's beautiful, it's nice, it's a month of worship, month of beauty, and the month of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. May Allah accept us all in His service, and especially in this month of Ramadan, give us well-being, health and happiness and all joy and tawfiq, that we be obedient to Him at all times, and especially this month of Ramadan be enlisted among the best of months that we have observed throughout our life. وسبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Any questions, Amir?